Hi, and welcome back to the Book Nook. I am the Book Nook librarian, and I am excited for you today. We get to review a book from my favorite author, and I am over the moon about it. I did read it for class. Once again, I know it's a class book. Woohoo! I have so many of them. I think this will be my last class book that I review until the next semester. Um, but yes, this is my favorite author. I would probably, anything he writes, I will probably want a copy of and want to read it. This author, all my copies, I have most of my books are from him. Not gonna lie, my whole bookshelf is filled, and then I have a stack that's like two shelves of my books, like height wise. That's nothing but his books. And again, some of them are like really thick. Um, and once you find out the author, I'm sure we can all figure out why these two of these books that I own from him are like really really thick. But yeah, but my goal one day is to have copies that are like every copy of his, like every book signed by him, and then a copy of books that I can just go and read and yes. But okay, so the book we are reviewing today is The Body by Stephen King. I am currently reading Mr. Mercedes by Stephen King, and I'm loving it. I'm 50 pages in, so I can't wait to talk about that one with you guys. When I opened up The Body, I completely spaced that it had a movie until a few lines in. I was like, hold on, puppy paws. And I Googled it, and I was like, does The Body have a movie? Because, most of his books have a movie. And it did. It's Stand By Me. And I was like, what? That's the, what? And then I was telling a friend about it, and they were like, what? Why is it, like, two different names? And I was like, I don't know. But my dad has seen it, and I'm going to watch it over break at the same time that I'm watching The Wonder. And I am excited about that. I'm going to watch it with my dad because my dad's seen it and he likes it. Plus, my dad and I are the horror people in the house, and except for my mom, who that's all she watches. But my dad and I are the big fans of it. So I know it's not necessarily a horror book, but Stephen King's the king of horror. So, yes. Now, Stephen King is mostly known for the macabre and horror and scary and thrillers, but it's also nice to know that a lot of the things he writes is kind of like Mr. Mercedes, which is a cop book, because it's my very first book, which we'll get there, from Stephen King, is Salem's Lot. My favorite movie is The Shining. But again, we'll get to all of that, I promise. But for this one specifically, I wasn't expecting it to end or go or anything how it did. And especially not for how short it is, I only read this in 2 hours. And it was an amazing read. Again, I will read anything that Stephen King writes and love it, because I don't think I would find something that I hate from him, because of his style of writing, which is phenomenal. I read it for my fiction writing class, who my professor loves Stephen King, and he even assigned us all Stephen King books. I got Misery. I would love to know why. That he just viewed off of personality, because he reads so much Stephen King. But back to the book. For The Body, the best way I can describe it is wow. Just wow. Again, not a mind-blowing book. I wasn't completely just sitting there being like, what the fuck did I just read? It was more of a, wow, a subtle whoa. And I remember when the book ended, I was crying. It was 3 in the morning, and the person I usually call when I want to talk about books is my mom, because she'll just listen to me rant. like, y'all are listening to me rant now. I could go on about Stephen King for hours. uh, but, I couldn't talk to anybody and I was devastated. I couldn't talk to no one about it. I was I was wrecked after this book. I couldn't pick up another book while I was downstairs reading it after this one was done. I had to actually just turn away from it and I did something else, from reading in general. I mean, it didn't put me in a reading slump. I did continue on because I was reading this one for class and semi-pleasure. I would like to come back to it for pleasure instead of just class. But then the next day I went back on to my book that I was currently reading at the time, which was Mafia Made by Issa Oliver. Or Isa? I don't want to pronounce that wrong, but I probably am, and I am so sorry to the writer for that, especially when I do that review. But it's okay. So this book is about a group of friends, and they're obviously going on a trip to find the body, and it's this wholehearted book that at first I was like, did Stephen King even write this? Are we sure? And then it got to the pie eating scene, and I was like, there it is. And that's what we discussed in classes. It was like, there it is. There's the traditional stuff that we remember. But it was this, it's not even gut-wrenching. It's just, it really pulls on your heartstring because they're kids. All of them, I believe, are between 10 to 13 years old. Maybe 11 to 13, it's one of the two. And all four of them are pretty young. And they just disappear on this road trip, and parents aren't noticing. And, then it even goes on to talk about, later year life. You would not expect all that goes on in this small little bitty book. And I was shocked by how, all that goes on in this itty bitty book. But it was, again, phenomenal in my opinion because, again, to me, for his writing, there's nothing I won't love about it. I didn't necessarily care for the pie eating scene. I didn't necessarily care for the ending either. I feel like it could have been, the book could have been thicker. Oh, 100% definitely could have been bigger, thicker. Not that I'm saying that it's a bad thing that it's so small. I absolutely loved it and it's perfect. I do like the cover. By the way, I wanted to take a minute to discuss the cover. I love the cover, and it even goes around to the back of the train when it does the train scenes. Don't mind the textbook rental stuff. And I love Stephen King's picture right there. I love that. I think his book jacket photo is absolutely something that is kind of funny because he's not smiling, but he kind of is, kind of giving the Mona Lisa right there. But I think it's really unique. They have one kid who's actually really small when they're when you read it, and they even have one kid a little shorter than the others, which I think is fantastic. And I can't wait to watch the movie, give that review, and then do the cross examination of what's different, what's there to compare, what's there to contrast to both of them. I do want to again reiterate that you should definitely check out the book, definitely check out the movie. I haven't seen it yet, but I think that it's probably still worth it. I've heard of it, and I've definitely heard the song Stand By Me. And I don't know if those two go together, but I like the song. So, yeah, and then my copy even includes an expert of fairy tale. I have yet to read fairy tale, it's on the list. But, yeah. So, maybe one day we'll look at my Goodreads list and go through it. I do have some fun. I like lists, and so it would be fun walking you through how my library and stuff is all categorized on my computer. So, I do recommend the book to anybody that wants a nice little heart-filled, easy read that's really enjoyable and will pull at your heartstrings. But that's my take on Stephen King, The Body. It's great. I loved it. And I want my own copy so I can read it as many times as I can get my hands on it. Even though I have tons and tons to read. So, thank you all for watching, and I will see you when you come back to the Book Nook.